The Philippines is an island state in Southeast Asia, located in the Pacific Ocean. It is a republic made up of more than 7,000 islands, only a few hundred of which are inhabited. With an area of approximately 300,000 square kilometers, the Philippines is one of the largest archipelagic countries in the world. The official languages are Filipino and English, and the capital is Manila, known for its densely populated area. Why will the Philippines become an economic powerhouse? The Philippines has all the advantages to become a leading economy in the future. One of these is its excellent demographics, which give it a huge human potential. The Philippines has one of the youngest and fastest growing populations in the world. It currently has more than 115.5 million people, most of whom speak English. This gives them an advantage over other countries that are facing aging and declining populations. According to the UN, the Philippines is one of 8 countries where more than half of the world's population growth will be concentrated by 2050. Over the past 62 years, the Philippines' population has grown by more than 330%, while Germany, Japan, and Russia have seen symbolic growth. From 1960 to 2022, the Philippines' population grew from 26 million to 115.5 million. By comparison, Germany's population grew from 73 million in 1960 to 83.5 million today. Japan has gone from 93 to 126 million over the same period, and Russia from 120 to 143 million. The difference in favor of the Philippines is huge, but it is worth noting that these countries are basically in a period of population decline, especially Japan, which has the fastest aging population in the world. To put this in context, data from the Philippine Statistics Authority shows that the country's population, which is characterized by a young demographic, will grow to 142 million by 2045. An economy with potential. The Philippines is a country to watch. It is one of the fastest growing emerging economies in the world, 7.6% of GDP in 2022, and the second fastest in ASEAN. This shows a promising growth trajectory and economic potential, writes the World Bank in its report. The 2022 result is the fastest economic growth the Philippines has seen since 1976. With strong growth projected for the medium term, it was found that the size of the Philippines' nominal GDP in US dollars would reach 1 trillion by 2033. This would make the Philippines one of the largest emerging markets in the Asia-Pacific region and a leading emerging market globally. Average annual GDP per capita has also risen dramatically over the past 2 decades, from less than $1,000 per person in 2000 to $3,500 in 2022, and is projected to exceed $6,000 per person by 2030. What has driven this impressive growth? The main factor is strong private consumption, which accounts for more than 70% of GDP. Consumption is supported by large inflows of remittances from Filipinos working abroad, which will amount to more than 30 billion in 2022, or about 8% of GDP. In addition, the Philippines has a young and growing population, creating a large market for goods and services. Another important factor is increased investment activity, particularly from the public sector. The Philippine government has increased infrastructure spending from 3% of GDP in 2015 to over 5% of GDP in 2022, which is expected to improve roads, bridges, ports, airports, and power grids. Private investment is also on the rise, driven by growth in the property and business services sectors. The Philippines also has a favorable macroeconomic environment with low public debt, around 40% of GDP, a stable exchange rate, and low inflation, around 3% per annum. These factors are conducive to maintaining consumer and investor confidence and providing fiscal and monetary policy space. There is, of course, no shortage of challenges for the Philippine economy. One of these is the low quality of human capital, which limits the country's productivity and competitiveness. According to the World Bank, the Philippines has one of the lowest high school graduation rates in the region, around 60%, as well as low levels of literacy and numeracy among students. Other challenges include high levels of poverty, around 16% of the population, social and regional inequalities, poor quality of public institutions, and risks associated with climate change and natural disasters. However, this is likely to change over time, as South Korea has improved its performance in this area. Having been a backward agricultural country with fundamental social problems, illiteracy rate of 27.9% in 1960 until 6 decades ago. The country emerged from the 1950-1953 war severely devastated, with about half of its industrial base and 75% of its railway lines destroyed. However, the country, which occupies the southern part of the Korean peninsula, has made a spectacular leap in civilization over the last 60 years. Despite these challenges, the Philippines has many strengths that can help it realize its full economic potential. The country has a strategic geographical location, rich natural resources, a diversified economic structure, and strong cultural and trade ties with other countries. To capitalize on these strengths, the Philippines needs to pursue structural reforms that improve education, health, social protection, and public governance. Only then will the Philippines be able to sustain high growth and ensure prosperity for its citizens. The Philippines is a country with many assets that can ensure its economic growth and development. One of these is its excellent geographical location, which puts it at the center of the world's fastest-growing region, Asia. Asia is a continent that has been at the forefront of GDP growth for years. Developing countries in Asia are forecast to be the fastest growing in the coming years, more than 5% a year. This is significantly higher than the post-Soviet countries or the developed markets, which are expected to grow by around 2.1% and 1.5% per year, respectively. Among the Asian tigers, China and India stand out, with growth rates of more than 7% and 6% per year, respectively. But they are not alone. Vietnam, Pakistan, and Indonesia are also showing great dynamism and potential. The Philippines cannot afford to lag behind its neighbors. That is why it is actively seeking to participate in regional integration and benefit from the openness of Asian markets. The Philippines is a member of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, one of the world's largest trading blocs. ASEAN has a population of more than 660 million and a GDP of more than $2 trillion. The Philippines is also a signatory to the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, the world's largest trade agreement. RCEP comprises 15 countries in the Asia-Pacific region, including China, India, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. RCEP aims to reduce tariff and non-tariff barriers, facilitate the flow of goods and services, and promote economic cooperation and innovation. Through its participation in ASEAN and RCEP, the Philippines has access to a huge market and sources of investment. It can also benefit from the transfer of technology and know-how from its trading partners. The Philippines has all the ingredients to become one of the leading economies in the world. In addition, the trade agreement currently being negotiated between the Philippines and the European Union is mutually beneficial and opens up new opportunities for cooperation. The Philippines is rich in natural resources such as minerals, oil, natural gas, timber, and fish, which can meet the needs of the European market. In return, Europe offers the Philippines access to modern technology, investment, services, and markets. The trade agreement will facilitate the flow of goods and services between the two regions, reduce tariffs and non-tariff barriers, and strengthen the protection of intellectual property rights and environmental and labor standards. The trade agreement will contribute to economic growth, job creation, and improved quality of life in both the Philippines and Europe. The Philippines-European Union Trade Agreement will increase trade, investment, employment, and economic growth. The Philippines can count on the support of the European Union to modernize its infrastructure, improve the quality of life of its citizens, and enhance its international competitiveness. The European Union will gain a stable and reliable partner in the Southeast Asian region. The Philippines is a country with great economic potential, but faces many challenges, such as poverty, corruption, overpopulation, and natural disasters. One way to improve the situation is to invest in modern and sustainable infrastructure, which can contribute to economic growth, job creation, improved quality of life, and environmental protection. In recent years, The Philippines has undertaken many massive infrastructure projects to address the country's social and economic needs. Thank you for watching the video. Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. See you next video.